Yeah, I know.
Well, how is everyone holding up?
Hanging in there.
Emphasis on hanging.
Oh,
That's my kind of humor right there.
Good.
Thanks for that.
Seeing lots of names, not too many people. Morning, everybody.
Yeah, it didn't give me a chance to put my name on there, so I'm glad you admitted me.
Yes, thank you for
Yeah,
admitting.
boy, if I had known, Richard, whew,
I know. You could hit the ejection button right then.
right then. Meeting host has so much power. This will be the single power trip of my life. Being able to mute or unmute people.
Oh no, that's my sister.
I cut them all off.
Welcome, Richard's sister.
Hello there.
Maureen.
Oh, she even combed her hair for this. This is important.
Oh, nice.
Brothers doing brother things.
Oh,
Always.
it's Zoe that just jumped in.
Right.
Okay. I got your special treatment. Oh, okay. You should sit closer to me.
No, 6 feet apart.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Hey,
Good morning.
Alan.
Next week.
Okay.
Next week I'll move the rocking chair.
I like your background picture, Alan.
Yep, that's Caesar's Creek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can pick that, can't you? I don't know how to do it.
I need a background. Put that anywhere.
When I put a background on mine, it all blends through my face.
Oh,
I end up with daffodils on my nose.
yeah.
You have to have a something green that's one color behind you.
I
It
know.
helps.
That'll help.
Oh,
It also depends on the graphics capability on your computer.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't know
and
that.
Yeah.
I can add a green screen actually. So,
Hi,
Yeah,
Marty.
I have an old computer.
I got my book.
Oh, look at the puppies.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yep, those are a few of mine.
Aw.
I'm doing this on my phone because my phone book doesn't have the oomph.
Okay, where's Brad?
Hey, Marty,
Yeah.
I got Bear Trap.
Oh, you mean Beartown?
Bear what?
Beartown?
Yes, I'm starting to read it today.
Okay. Let me know how you like it.
Oh, it is Beartown.
Can anybody hear me?
Bear Trap.
I hear somebody.
Yep.
This is Bob Freer.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
How are you?
I don't know. Let me take a look and see. Oh yeah. You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Richard got the binoculars out.
Uh-oh.
What?
Hey.
It's the music man.
Hello.
Like Sherry Tucker over there on the left when she was younger. Oh, there. Hi, Tim.
Hi there. Morning.
Hey.
Hello.
Tim, hi.
Hi.
I couldn't get the audio.
Yeah, because it was a big blue
I can
thing.
hear you, Suzanne.
I'm not that computer savvy.
Right there.
Gotcha.
Well, welcome to everybody from Bowling Green.
Well, thank you.
Glad to be here.
This is supposed to be a funny service.
That's right.
Yep.
We're working on it.
Our sense of humor seems to be lagging.
I haven't had enough coffee myself, so.
My grandson, who is an introvert and loves to do nothing but stay in his room, he's 12 years old, has now said he's had enough. He's ready to go out.
Oh, whoa. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Coming
Oh
to.
my.
Oh, they got names on
Yeah, they always had names. You didn't pay any attention before.
That thing over there. Picture. Is that a car? What is that? Fourth row down, 4.
There,
Yeah.
I don't know. Looks like a picture of a car.
Okay, that's it.
It looks as if, Dottie, can you hear us?
I hear you.
Dottie? It looks as if Dottie is having trouble getting connected.
Where's Brad?
Well, maybe this is his life.
I don't know if anybody can hear her in the background. Got about 4 minutes. Someone is riding
Hi,
their
Debbie.
bicycle all the way here.
That's me.
It's a long trip.
Hey, Debbie, are you in Florida or are you in Cincinnati?
Still in Florida.
South Florida. Okay.
Very hot.
It's very hot. Well, it's not here.
Abby, tell them your view.
Live here. Am I closer?
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. No mooning, Noreen.
Right. And it looks like Brad and Kimberly aren't on. They could show us a picture of the beaches in North Carolina or South Carolina, wherever it is that they are.
Costa Rica.
Oh, they're in Costa Rica now?
Well,
That Dottie?
Yeah, somebody's calling her probably to try and help her.
This one is calling Dottie, I guess.
Where's Brad?
Eileen, what are you eating?
I'm having my breakfast, which is fresh fruit salad and cottage cheese.
All right.
Mm.
That's why you don't recognize something.
I don't want them to hear me. We hear you now. Bye-bye.
We just want to know that you're connected, Dottie.
That's right, some people always.
She's not answering.
maybe she can't hear.
What?
What are you using the string for?
The screen?
String.
Oh, just to tie up some of the recycling.
Okay. So it should be a little bit sturdy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Chuck Webb, I don't recognize that name.
He's from Bowling Green. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. Hi, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Let's see.
Good morning.
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 Hey.
Betsy.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, Debbie.
Morning.
Hi, Mel.
Hi.
Hey, Betsy.
Who am I saying hi to? Hi.
That was his bed.
Might have been
How are you,
Richard.
Betsy? I'm Freer.
Hi. Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good morning,
I can
Jeff.
see your picture just fine.
Hi.
Oh, there's
Oh, I like it.
Michelle's cat.
Hello, Sharon.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Forrest and Greg. I know you're at
Good
behind that.
morning, Forrest and Greg and Jeff and Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Peter. I don't see Peter on my screen.
I should be there.
I'm
Hey,
sure you
Peter.
are. It's just a big room.
You can scroll, depending on your view, you can scroll.
Oh, there he is. I found you.
Okay, we are about to begin. I'm going to mute everyone's microphone
Okay.
so
Thanks
that
for
we
letting
can
us
hear
in.
the most important people. And we'll catch
But I
up with
demand to be
everyone.
heard. It's my liberty and my right. I demand to be heard, Sue. Okay.
It's time. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual service at the Gathering at Northern Hills in Cincinnati. We extend a special welcome to our guests from the Unitarian Universalist Church in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Thanks to Richard Thornton for setting this up, and we are very, very happy to have you here. So welcome, and we are going to begin in just a second here. I have a few announcements to highlight this week. First of all, remember to read your announcements. Doug sends those out on Thursday afternoon along with the link to this meeting. And there's a lot in there, and of course I'm not going to highlight everything, but please read those and you will keep up to date on what's going on and also how to get into our Sunday meeting. Afterwards, the service is uploaded, ugly mugs and all, to our website. So you can watch a recording of the service, and you can also catch Doug's message and the music on YouTube. So we will put the links to those, everybody. I see lots of folks are using their chat button to say welcome and hi, and that's wonderful. We are very happy to see everybody here. That chat button is going to be in use. We will have a talk back, a joke telling session after Doug's message this morning, and we will use the chat to be notified that you have something to entertain us with. So we will use that. We will also use that chat when we get to joys and sorrows, because we have people on audio only. So if we use the chat, then I can read those and get everybody in our circle. So once again, we're very happy to have you here. After the service, hang around, go get another cup of coffee, and we will, with my magic powers of Zooming, I will split the group into what they call breakout rooms, and people will be thrown in with strangers or not. It's always a mystery, and you'll have an opportunity to catch up on a smaller scale with people in your community. So we appreciate that. This is our neighbor here in Cincinnati, the Valley Interfaith Community Resource Center down in Lockland has a tremendous list of customers, as it were, and that list is growing because there are so many unemployed and hurting people. Every Tuesday from 9 to 11, the Valley Interfaith will accept drive-through donations. You don't have to talk to anybody. Just drop off your items outdoors, and they will be picked up and distributed to the people who need them. They're doing some really cool stuff. They've adopted one particular home to provide meals to every day, and we partner with them a lot in helping with some of their programs, and invite you to give them some extra help during this time. Once again, that's every Tuesday from 9 to 11. I said this last week. If you borrowed the laminator from the office at GNH, please return it. We need it. We have a special care this morning for Adrienne Campbell, our office administrator. She's having a lot of shoulder pain, and she's been coming in and getting work done for us, but I think it's not very comfortable. And the other piece is to, give her a call, but don't visit. She's got the place all spiffed up and germ-free for herself. We'd like to keep it that way for her. Let's see. Want to remind people, if you have not requested your absentee ballot for Ohio elections, do so right away. We have applications for those at church. You can drop by church and pick them up. They're outside the office door, and get that mailed in immediately so that you can vote in June if you haven't already. We also have those applications available at the office. Pick them up, take them to your local Kroger, drugstore, wherever is open. Ask if you can put them out to help people get registered. There's hardly any time left to request that absentee ballot. So I think it's April 28th. Got to get that application in. One of our members, Cheryl Lexon, has been making face masks since this ordeal began. She's well over 500 now. Contact her if you need a mask. She will see that you get it. She is being extremely generous and productive with that project. Let's see. We have a lot of people who live alone. Remember them, please. That whole list is in your announcements. Don't let people go unremembered, uncommunicated with. Make sure that our community is together during this time. So we are going to begin now to begin our service. And if I can find the program. There we go. I'm going to ask Michael Tacey to play our chalice song for us, and we will proceed. So everybody is muted. And again, that's my superpower this week. So.
All right, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm the music director, Michael. And normally I, play stuff live for you, but that doesn't work so well over Zoom. So got some videos, so I'm just gonna be sharing my screen and playing videos for you. All stuff that I recorded. Well, this one I didn't record this week, but little Rise Up, O Flame. If you know the tune, sing along, but keep your microphone muted, please, because if you don't, things get real bad real quick. So here we go.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
So now going to move into a time of prelude. So we're going to move to the prelude now, and this is usually in our service where we would come up and drop stones for a joy or a sorrow. So drop your metaphorical stones at home for anything that's on your mind or in your heart. And I'm going to play a little goofy recording video I made of popular tune, Don't Worry, Be Happy. And I hope you enjoy it.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but if you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Someone came and took your bed. Don't worry, be happy. The landlord says your rent is late. He may have to litigate. So don't worry, be happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Ooh. Cash, ain't got no style, ain't got the girl to make you smile. Don't worry, be happy. 'Cause when you're sad, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ooh.
Whistler. Oh well.
Your dog should do the vocals from now on. That was awesome. Nice duet.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was just kind of a goofy little little thing I did. All right, and then so, you know, we always open up with a hymn, and I was like, I always come up with the hymns, and I try to find something that suits our theme, and I was like, there is literally no UU hymns that are funny. So I decided to write parodies of popular hymns. So if you know the hymn Enter Rejoicing Come In, this is a parody of Enter Rejoicing Come In, and it's called Enter the Zoom But Stay Home. And it's just a different take on on Enter Rejoicing Come In. So I'm going to play the video for you. Sing along if you know the tune. Try to follow my lyrics as best as you can. The lyrics will be on the screen, so let me show this to y'all.
Enter the Zoom, but stay home. Enter the Zoom, but stay home. Today can still be a joyful day. Enter the Zoom, but stay home. Wash both your hands with some soap. Wash both your hands with some soap. We will not get the COVID today. Wash both your hands with some soap. Whatever you do, hold that cough. Disease, no allergies, really piss me off. I don't dare, I don't want those judgmental stares, so I will just hold in that cough. Try not to sleep well past noon. Try not to sleep well past noon. Though there's really not much to do today. I guess I'll just sleep till like 2. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. This too will pass, and one day we'll laugh. Don't be afraid of some change.
There you go. Enter the Zoom, but stay home. All right. Give it back to Sue, who will give us our unison affirmation.
Love it, Michael. Thank you so much. I'm going to put the Word Star Unison affirmation up on the screen, and please join in together as we recite this together. We pledge to create a welcoming community that celebrates human diversity, encourages spiritual growth, fosters responsiveness to our world, and commits to the future of all children. And now we await what Reverend Doug has to say about laughter being the best medicine.
Good morning. It's good to quote unquote see all of you, and thank you for being here. I too would like to welcome our guests from the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Bowling Green, Kentucky. It is a pleasure having you with us. I'm speaking by a recording, but I am right there at the service. We have just decided to use a recording because it seems like there are fewer hiccups as a result. So we'll see. I did a recording last week and it seemed to work a little bit better than by me delivering the message live. The title of my message this morning is Laughter. It is the best medicine. And most of us know the famous Old Testament Bible verse supposedly written by King Solomon. It goes, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to hurt and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance. Now that verse goes on much longer, but overall it speaks to our use of human reason and a sense of what is appropriate for when to act and think in certain ways. Right now, in the midst of the greatest health challenge in over a century, many people have defaulted to a natural reaction in emergencies. They're worried and afraid. Despite that, we have also likely seen or heard humorous memes or jokes over the past several weeks about the COVID-19 crisis. Now, for some, however, laughter and joking at this time can seem inappropriate. How is it possible to joke when the world is caught in a Twilight Zone-like crisis? Now, I submit, however, that now is a perfect time to both hurt and heal, to grieve and dance, to cry and to laugh. For many people, laughter at this time is appropriate and even the right thing to do. Indeed, experts say humor is one of the best emotional defense mechanisms we can employ to get through challenges. A sense of humor helps us, figuratively, fight back. With laughter, we can regain some of our lost perspective about COVID-19. It's bad, yes, but it's not so terrible that our sense of optimism and humor should be destroyed. We joke not just for our own sake, but as a way to help others too. In that way, we cognitively change our thinking from worry and sadness to mindsets that are more positive. We don't take control over the virus, which all of us should leave to medical professionals and experts. But we do take control over our own attitudes and emotions and physical well-being. At a time when many feel they have no control, it's important to realize we still have control over many things. Now, our humor doesn't mean we're not serious about the present challenges. Indeed, it means the opposite. When we find something to laugh about right now, that indicates we are taking this virus very seriously, and we're trying to do something about it. Who laughs at something inconsequential or trivial? In other words, making the decision to find some humor in this situation is an intentional act to change thinking in a way that's helpful. As I said earlier, laughter is a healthy defense mechanism so we can emotionally get through a challenge, unlike other more negative defense mechanisms like anger, depression, or denial. Other healthy defense mechanisms are also good, along with laughter. Ones like rationally thinking through a problem, taking on tasks to help others, exercise, or staying busy and productive. All of these defense mechanisms are useful to our well-being, and none are better or worse than others. Now, there are also people who laugh during stressful times without knowing why. They laugh perhaps nervously when frightened. Some people laugh when they feel grief or deep sadness. Now, some consider that odd and even antisocial. But experts say such laughter is normal and is a way for some to cope with negative feelings that would otherwise overwhelm them. For such people, laughter is a defense mechanism they unconsciously use to handle challenges. Now, for those of us who don't laugh in such ways, we can and should be empathetic to those who do. Indeed, experts say outward humor can be a way to express and thereby deal with grief or fear. Now, besides being good medicine for our minds, a recent Mayo Clinic study said about laughter that one that came out before this crisis, it said that laughter and a sense of humor can actually improve our health. Laughter increases blood flow and oxygen levels to our vital internal organs. It relaxes muscles and it decreases blood pressure, and it releases feel-good hormones that diminish stress. Of greatest importance for us right now are results from the Mayo Clinic study that show an increase when we laugh of disease-fighting antibodies. People's immune systems are made stronger by humor. Now, the late Professor Robert Provine, who worked at the University of Maryland and who was considered the foremost expert on the study of laughter, he said that jokes, funny stories, and silly actions are ways that people use to bond with one another. It's a form of social vocalization, as he called it, for people to unite over something humorous. By laughing at the same things, we recognize that we have much in common, and that then helps us come together in times of difficulty. Now, for me, I think the professor's research is especially good for this pandemic. Jokes about our present isolation poke fun at our common quirks, but they also remind us that the virus is a threat. Joking about hoarding toilet paper, for instance, is a way to bond over our shared efforts to isolate and prevent COVID spread. Consistent with that idea that humor helps social bonding is the admonition that humor should always be inclusive and never exclusive. That is what separates appropriate humor from what is not. Inclusive humor makes light of common and often shared quirks and foibles and actions that most people do. When we laugh at jokes about our shared response to isolation by purchasing more than enough toilet paper to last a year, we're not laughing at someone's alleged differences, but it's something that many of us do, and thus share in common. Indeed, such binge buying of toilet paper might in its own way be a reasonable defense mechanism. We have little control over the virus, but we can darn sure have control over our restrooms. Now, one internet wag, he noted a few weeks ago on the internet that if a person feels he or she needs 144 rolls of toilet paper for a 2-month period of isolation, well, that person should have consulted a doctor long before this virus. Now, for me, that observation is funny and it's true. And that's why it's helpful for us to have a little bit of a chuckle. Now, inappropriate jokes, however, are those that exclude. They poke fun at an individual's or group's differences. Such jokes can be sexist, racist, homophobic, or just plain cruel. That kind of humor does not bring people together. It divides and demeans and hurts. Indeed, such humor is harmful in times like these. Instead of healing through shared laughter, jokes that exclude, they tear us apart. They can spawn anger and likely elevate stress. One group laughs at the expense of another group in very hurtful ways. And I strongly encourage us not to tell such jokes, and even more, to firmly but gently correct inappropriate joke tellers. And finally, I believe laughter and a good sense of humor are spiritually good practices. Many of you may have seen statues of a pot-bellied Buddha, his arms raised high, his eyes squinted shut, and a huge laugh or smile on his face. That image or statue comes from stories about him. He taught that laughter is another expression of enlightenment. It is one way, the Buddha said, to reach nirvana. We laugh at things we don't always realize are ironically true. In this way, the Buddha indicated that spiritual insight doesn't always have to be so serious, that it can be funny. And if it is, we should laugh at it. Now, many of the Bible's heroes also enjoyed humor and having fun. King David, the great Jewish king that's talked about in the Old Testament, he celebrated a battle victory by stripping down to his underwear and then laughing and dancing through the streets, all while leading his army in a victory parade. And Jesus taught against hypocrisy by using the very humorous analogy of people pointing out specks in another person's eye while they have a log in their own. Now that analogy is both memorable and true, but it's also funny. Just imagine someone with a log in their eye. And Jesus, his first miracle as described in the Bible, was him turning 2 large vats of water into wine, all for a wedding party to which he'd been invited. Now, the religious snobs of the time apparently enjoyed pointing out that Jesus liked going to parties and spending time with bad people, when in fact, it appears he was simply endorsing appropriate fun and laughter. Now, finally, there's a Bible story of a apparently evil guy named Balaam. And he set off to do something he knew was not right and would displease the religious elites. On his way, he was confronted by a talking donkey who promptly told Balaam how wrong he was. Now, whoever wrote that Bible story must have had a great sense of irony and humor. It took an ass to tell Balaam that he was a very bad guy. And I believe genuine spirituality should be fun. It should be something to laugh about, especially when ministers or supposedly spiritual people act too moralistic or stern. Humor should therefore help us change our perspective on life, and especially on difficult situations. It helps us think with more reason and optimism and kindness. It unites us with others, and it's good for our health. And it reminds us that spiritual truths can be funny. Now, based on all of that, it's likely wise right now to wash our hands regularly, wear a face mask when in public, keep a 6-foot distance from others, and listen to at least one appropriate but funny joke a day, and then laugh. In other words, laughter is indeed the best medicine. And as I noted earlier, there are so many coronavirus jokes going around right now that it's become a veritable pandemic. That was kind of lame, but I thought it was cute. There was a recent online commentator who recently reminded people to think about the last international crisis, World War II. At that time, many were expected to head off to foreign battlefields to fight and perhaps die. Others took on factory jobs to make tanks and airplanes, and everyone had to follow rationing rules. Almost no meat, no butter, no coffee, eggs, milk, cooking oil, sugar, gasoline, or bicycles. But during this present worldwide crisis, we're just asked to lie on our couches and watch Netflix. Now, that observation is slightly humorous, but it's also true. There was one woman who recently observed something that seems upsetting to her right now. She is living her teenage years in reverse. She is the one now yelling at her parents not to go out. A dad was recently heartbroken when, while homeschooling his son, the kid casually remarked, "Gosh, I sure hope I don't have the same teacher next year." This isolation has also done a lot for my self-esteem. Back in pre-COVID days, I'd have a drink or two alone and at home on a Saturday night, and I'd think to myself, "You're a loser. You're so lame." Now I have a drink or two alone and at home, and I think to myself, "You're a model citizen. You're a hero." I've also remembered that in pre-COVID days, the only time I would panic buy was when a bartender yelled out, "Last call." There's also lots and lots of COVID-19 advice going around. Some of it is good. One piece of advice I know by experience is very true. The best way to avoid touching your face is to always have a glass of wine in each hand. Now, most of you never knew you had a lush for a minister. Well, now you do. I'm also learning some new social norms. It used to be so easy to beg off of a long phone call. It's gotten really hard to do that right now. Twice yesterday, I almost said on phone calls, "Okay, I gotta run," before realizing I have nowhere to run to. Someone else pointed out that in pre-COVID days, it was a social norm for people to cough in order to cover up when they passed gas. Now, people pass gas to cover up their cough. Now, that's a bit of a juvenile kind of humor, but it's still funny. There's also lots of observational humor going around. Reading the personals section of an online newspaper the other day, this ad caught my idea. Quote, "Single man with toilet paper seeks woman with hand sanitizer for good, clean fun." End quote. There was a bank teller who just this last Friday was extremely relieved when she realized that two men who entered her bank wearing face masks were just there to rob the place. And relationship humor is also making the rounds right now. One man recently wrote in his diary, quote, "Day 2 of living without live sports on TV." Quote, "I found an attractive woman sitting on my couch today. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice." End quote. And there's a story about an unfortunate telephone conversation with a doctor. A very serious doctor informed a woman, quote, "Because you've been exposed to the COVID-19 virus, you are going to have to be totally quarantined for at least 14 days. But you do have a choice. Do you, A, quarantine with your husband, or B," before he could get out an explanation of the B option, the woman quickly blurted out, "B, I want B. B it is. Yes, 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 B." Now, if you noticed, my last two jokes were directed at men, and some of you might consider that to be sexist. Well, by my way of thinking, guys have been in control for far too long, and they can stand some gentle humor at that expense. Most of all, with some of my lame jokes that I've just told, it feels mentally and physically good, at least for me, to laugh. We each will be better off if we adopt healthy defense mechanisms to get through these difficult times. For all of us, whatever it takes to emotionally deal with negative situations, and especially this isolation and virus crisis, whatever it takes for us to deal with those in healthy ways is good. And I believe laughter is definitely one of the healthy ways to deal with this challenge. And I wish you all much peace and joy.
Thank you, Doug. There's so many ways and so many comments and things that make us laugh or have the potential to make us laugh. We need to relax and let them work. At this time, Mike, okay, yeah,
Sorry.
go.
It's okay. Introduce it, Sue.
I'm sorry. That's the power of hosting a Zoom video. You can cut them off just like that. We have an opportunity for a congregation talk back. Doug has asked people if they would like to share appropriate jokes with the community this morning. If you would like to share something like that with us, please send a little chat message to me, to everyone, asking to be unmuted, and I will unmute you and try to keep everything in the order in which it is received, as it is so often said. So I'm going to open my little chat window and see who is asking to share some humor with us.
While we're all while we're all getting our chats sent in, I just want to show you some funny memes that I found. Mosquitoes waking up from the wind.
Okay, I'm going to try and find people to unmute them. But you're going fast, so just a minute here. Lindsay. I'm sorry, my list of participants is not in alphabetical order, so there we go. Lindsay, I'm going to unmute your microphone. Please share your joy with us.
Okay, so there's a table and all these people walk in with their cards and they sit down and they start to play poker, and then when it comes time to bid, they reach down beside them and pick up and they're bidding in toilet paper. That was it.
Great, thank you. From Chuck Webb, I'm going to unmute your microphone. Please share with us.
Yes, thanks. And thanks for having us. The question is, why don't ants get sick? And the answer is because they have very little antibodies. Or antibodies.
Good.
I have one other if you want to come back later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Chuck, please. Okay,
well,
later.
This goes like this. What is the difference between a poorly dressed man riding on a tricycle and a well-dressed man on a bicycle? Now, this could also be a woman, so. What's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a tricycle and a well-dressed man or woman on a bicycle?
No, it was like that when I found it, Dad.
And
well, seeing as I'm pretty sure that
I've heard the answer is
be here right now.
Michael's talking too. So the answer is I've heard a tire.
Oh, a tire. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Took me a
That's
second.
Linda, just a minute here till I get myself organized. Linda has a joke for us. Go.
This joke came from my elderly stepfather last week. He said two men were exiting the stalls in a lavatory, and one man headed for the sink and the other man headed for the door. The man at the sink said, "At Yale, they taught us to wash up." And the man towards the door said, "Well, at Harvard, they told us not to pee on our hands."
Thank you, Linda. Let's see. Brad says, I don't have a joke, but I have a funny video to share. Let me see if I can make this happen.
Okay, if you can, I can upload it, but it'll just take a second. So.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, keep going with the jokes. I'll upload it, then Michael can share from there.
You're last in line, Jack, or Brad.
Pete's got a joke.
I'm not sure. Pete Connolly has a joke to share.
Why don't you just, can you just share the link?
There is no link.
Okay. Pete Connolly, you have a joke to share.
Yes, my sister is a kindergarten teacher, and this is a joke that she tells to her class about two ducks who are walking together towards the pond. And as they enter, one says, "Quack," and the other one says, "Oh my gosh, I was just about to say that."
Right.
Right.
Chuck Webb has one more to share, and then you're up, Brad.
All right, it should be there. It's uploading now.
Chuck?
Okay, yes. This is another question. What do you get? Of course, this is starting to be spring, so this is like a spring joke. What do you get when you plant kisses? What do you get when you plant kisses? I've heard some people say you get two lips.
Oh.
2 lips. 2 lips. Something like that.
How punny.
How punny, right. Brad, you're up.
Yes, I got it. Let me send you the link, Michael. 1 second.
Okay.
So just as an introduction, this video is a short video we made that shows what happens with families in COVID and how COVID can make them stronger together.
Okay.
It's worth it. Just wait.
I can joke, I say what's on my mind. If I drink, if I smoke, I keep up with the guys, and you see me holding up my middle finger.
Well, the sound was a little out of sync, but you guys get the idea.
Wow, that's impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Forrest got a story.
Forrest.
Forrest?
I'm trying to unmute you, Forrest.
There
we
I am.
go.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
But when I was growing up, I had a Jewish friend. They moved into the neighborhood, Alan Sindler, and my parents were devout Catholics. And anyway, the Jewish man, every Friday we would have, of course, the fish fry, but he would be grilling steaks, and my parents would just get livid. And so they went over him and berated him. Said, "Don't you know what we're doing here? Don't you realize you're in our neighborhood?" And he says, "I'm Jewish. What do I care? I don't care about your fish fries." And so they badgered him and they badgered him. And so finally he decided that he would convert to Catholicism. And so he did. And he went to the service. The service was beautiful, and the priest, sprinkled water on him. Said, "Behold, you were born a Jew, you were raised a Jew, and now you are a Catholic by the power of God." And the man, Mr. Sindler, he seemed so sincere. But that following Friday, my parents invited him to the fish fry, and he said, "No. I thank you, but no, I won't do that." And we smelled steak cooking, and my parents were livid. And he went over there, and as they rounded the corner where his grill was, a beautiful sirloin steak on there, and Mr. Sindler was sprinkling water on the steak, saying, "Behold, you were born a steer, and you were raised a steer, but now you are a fish."
Oh, that's great.
That's good. Okay, Richard, did you have something? I can't find you.
So many people on the list.
I know. There we are. Richard, I've unmuted you. Did you have something to share?
Yeah, I would just wanted to show that I do have the fat Buddha here that Otai. He's beginning to look more like me, But yeah, I had a couple of stories. One was a Buddhist story. These are both true. And one's about my sister, so she can prepare to unmute herself and scream. But anyway, Jack Cornfield, who is a famous Western Buddhist person, was on a trip to India, and a dog was barking at him very ferociously. So Jack stopped and looked at him for a long time, and then suddenly the dog came over and bit him in the leg. And this really happened. And they said, what were you doing, Jack, between the time that the dog bit you in the leg? He said, "I was sending loving kindness to the dog." And just goes, that doesn't always work. So this is the story when I was young, and my aunt, one of my favorite aunt and uncles in Bowling Green, lived with minimal means. They were poor, and they had a two-seater. Those of you who don't know what a two-seater is, it's an outdoor privy with a Sears catalog, They didn't have to worry about hoarding toilet paper, just hoarding Sears catalogs. And my mother was British, and she was very prim and proper. She went out to use the bathroom, and then we suddenly heard screaming. She came rushing out with her undies down around her ankles, screaming. And what had happened is she sat down, and a large black snake came across the front of the door of the outdoor privy, and she came busting out. And my father, who was an Air Force officer, said, "Oh, I'll take care of this." He went back in, and he tried to jiggle the top of the roof of the outdoor privy, and the snake almost dropped down on top of him. He turned around and he flattened my sister Diane, just flattened her. And finally, my uncle came and grabbed the snake and dispatched it. But at the time, that had us all rolling on the ground. So I thought I'd tell you that.
Funny image.
Here's a comment from Forrest. "Richard, now when you claim to have the body of a god, I'll believe you."
Jack's got a quick joke, he says.
Yeah, Jack would like to share one.
Did you unmute me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll tailor this at one of my favorite little short jokes. In pre-COVID days, a giraffe walked into a bar and he said, "Hey, everybody, the highballs are on me."
That's good. Okay, here's a comment from Doug. "UU of Bowling Green must be a fun place. Thank you for joining with GNH today and for your many jokes and funny stories." I think that's our signal to move on. Thank you, Doug. Michael, take it away.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the offering. And yeah, and you know, we don't really have a bowl to pass around or anything like that, but we do encourage you to keep your money coming. We still need money, unfortunately. I wish it weren't the case, but that's the world we live in. So, you know, write a check, I don't know, transfer some money to a different account that you have set aside. I don't know. However you want to do it, make a mental note, make an actual note, send a check to us. I don't know. I think we're working on getting some kind of online donation thing going, but it's just, it's hard. It's a little tough. So I'm gonna play the offering music. It's another little quick video I made. I did a little keyboard version of The Joker by Steve Miller Band because it's just a goofy, feel-good song. It's just, the lyrics are goofy. It's just a goofy song. So we go joke. It's like one of my favorite songs to like, I feel like I always take The Joker and I like write new lyrics to it like all the time, usually about my dog or my cat. Like I just start making up new lyrics to The Joker. But anyway, here we go. The Joker, let me show it to you. Oh, there's Brad and Lucas.
Some people call me a space cowboy, yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the confidence of love. Oh, people talk about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Don't you worry, baby, don't worry. 'Cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. Play my music in the sun. And I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I sure don't wanna hurt no one, yeah. You're the cutest thing that I ever did see. Really love your peaches, wanna shake your tree. Lovey-dovey all the time. Ooh, hey baby, I'll show you a good time. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. Play my music in the sun. And I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I don't wanna hurt no one, yeah. I'm a picker and I'm a grinner, yeah. I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. Play my music in the sun. And I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight joker, yeah. I don't wanna hurt no one, yeah.
All right, so I hope you guys like that okay. We are now going to go into our close, nope, joys and sorrows. Sorry, Sue, back to you.
I think I'm back. There we go. Yes, now is a time, it's a spiritual time when we share our joys and our sorrows with one another, and we ask for and receive support. If you would use your chat button again to type a brief message, I will read it as it comes along. We have a lot of people who are here on audio only and don't get to see our chat page, so I will read those. And take your time, type a brief message, and we will get it out to be supported. From Ann Bobinick, I think I heard Bob Freer on here. Good to hear you. From Cheryl Lexon. Didn't know you were here, Cheryl. I'm in a temporary stall on mask making. I am in desperate need of narrow elastic.
Yeah.
This is from Brad, and it's from Kimberly, whose brother has recovered from COVID. That is good news. And I hope he continues to do well, Kimberly. Now they're coming in. From Doug. My son-in-law Matthew was recently deployed to California with his Army Reserves unit to staff a field hospital there. From Chuck Webb in Bowling Green. I'm glad to be in this community today. We're glad to have you, Chuck. Thank you. From Roxanne Spencer in Bowling Green. I'm so glad for our church leadership and the generosity of UU congregations around the country who open their Zooms to us. You're more than welcome, Roxanne. We are so happy to have everyone here. From Forrest, I echo Roxanne's comments. So glad you opened your church for us. The real physical church will be open to you anytime you care to visit, whenever we get it open again. So thank you. From Michael Tacey, thanks, Bowling Green people. Good to have you. From Chuck Webb, come see us also in Bowling Green if you're traveling through. Thank you, Chuck. So we hold everyone's concerns in our hearts. We love our UU community and are happy to have our visitors here from Bowling Green, happy to be able to share our service with someone, and just know that we are together in community and we will get through this together in community. we have another song to share. I'm going to hand this back to Michael. And this is called Laughter Will Guide Us. I think you'll recognize the melody.
Yeah, this next one's another parody, Laughter Will Guide Us. So it's a parody on Love Will Guide Us, another popular UU hymn. So just a alternate. I'm always writing alternate lyrics to songs. Like, you probably think I'm crazy hearing all the songs I sing around my house. But here it is, Laughter Will Guide Us. Sing along if you know the tune. It's just a goofy little thing.
Laughter will guide us. The COVID has tried us. Humor inside us will lead the way. Stuck at home from winter to summer. Laughter will guide us through quarantine. If you cannot wait to be out of here, if you cannot make it through June, turn on Netflix, just binge The Office. Before you know it, it'll be fall. Laughter will guide us. MASH is on Hulu, and Monty Python, they're on Stars. All the joy we've already created, it will guide us through quarantine.
There you go. Laughter will guide us.
Thank you, Michael. So would like to remind everyone that if you'd like to hang around after the service, go get another cup of coffee, and I will work my magic to split us into small conversational groups. As for closing our service today, just let us all use this time to become the humanity that we are able to be. And let's add some laughter in there and show the world. So as we conclude our service, normally we would be hugging and fist bumping. Please place your hand over your heart and think about what may have made you smile today. Think about the concerns and cares of everybody in the community and send your love to them. And have a great week, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back in just a few minutes to break into small groups.